Okay, so if you've ever traveled to Thailand, you've more than likely either ridden a motorbike or scooter or been on the back of one. And that's mostly because it's the most affordable and easiest way to get around in Southeast Asia, especially Thailand. Most rental places don't even ask you for a driver's license or a deposit. Sometimes you just have to give over your passport and you can rent a motorbike for as little as $5 a day. They don't even ask for insurance. But did you know that on average, every year in Thailand, over 15,000 people die from motorcycle accidents? That is actually insane. I just found this out yesterday. So obviously this is how Mandy and I have been getting around since we moved to Thailand, and honestly all of our travels through Southeast Asia. And for the most part we've felt pretty safe. We try to wear our helmets almost all of the time, but I'm not gonna lie, we're not perfect and there's been times when we have gone without. Well, that's something that's gonna have to change, especially with Mandy being pregnant. Like, I don't think the risk is worth the reward of not wearing a helmet and not being safe all the time. I'm not saying that we're gonna stop riding motorbikes. We're probably gonna keep riding a motorbike around, but we're definitely gonna have to reassess the safety of it and how we approach it. So the way I found out this statistic about the amount of motorcycle deaths every year in Thailand is I just went and got my Thai motorbike driver's license, and I had to actually take the course from scratch, like a full-on motorbike driver's license. And that's because while I do have a license in Australia, it was only a learner's motorbike license, which means I can ride a motorbike in Australia, but there are some conditions. Technically, I shouldn't even be driving a motorbike in Thailand, despite the fact that you can get away with it. I've been at Hua Hin for 6 months and I've not been stopped by police once. I've been told that if you wear a helmet, you should be fine. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be covered by insurance. And that doesn't mean if I have an accident, something bad isn't going to happen. I'm actually going to put out a full-length video about how to get your Thai driver's license and motorbike license in a couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. It was actually pretty easy, it's just more time consuming. I had to spend 2 full days at the driving school, which was kind of annoying, but in order to have the right legal documents to be driving a motorbike, that's just what I had to do.
Okay guys, so just quickly before I get into all of these statistics and some of these news articles about motorcycle deaths in Thailand, I want to give a quick shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Not only do you need to stay safe on the roads, you actually need to make sure that your internet safety is top priority as well. If you haven't heard of Surfshark yet, they provide VPNs, and if you don't know what a VPN is, it stands for Virtual Private Network. Having a VPN keeps you safe by basically covering up everything you do online, kind of like wearing a mask. When your laptop or phone connects to the internet, all of your information is encrypted. And this is super important for people who travel, because if you're going to be logging onto different Wi-Fis at like hotels, airports, internet cafes, then all of your information can be stolen by logging into these public Wi-Fis, and you need to be using a VPN. So pretty much when you're using Surfshark VPN, you can choose which country's server you want to connect to, and not only that, you can connect to an unlimited amount of devices using just one Surfshark account. This is super helpful for me and Mandy because we have one Surfshark account and we can use both of our computers or phones using the one account. In this day and age, honestly guys, safety is the utmost priority, especially online safety. I know for one, I've had my bank account hacked before. This was years ago, before I even knew what a VPN was. And since then, I've been using a VPN ever since. They also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. And on top of all of that, if you sign up today using code Lloyd and Mandy, you will get an exclusive Surfshark deal of an extra 3 months free. So if you've never heard of Surfshark or you've never tried a VPN, go ahead and click the link down below. We'll leave it in the description and give them a go. Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video and our channel. We've been with Surfshark for over 2 years now, and thank you guys for watching and listening to these ads. Now we'll get back into the video. But honestly, one thing that affected me the most was at this driving school, they sat us down for a good 2 hours and showed us videos of the worst motorbike accidents you can imagine in Thailand. I mean, some of these were absolutely horrific. I saw a guy go through an intersection and get cleaned up by a car and go somersaulting 2 stories in the air, hit a telephone pole and then hit the ground. It was honestly really graphic. But the part that really stood out the most, that really struck me, was the amount of deaths that take place every year in Thailand because of motorbikes. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there's around 20,000 deaths per year just on the roads in Thailand, and out of those 20,000, 15,000 are motorcyclists, which when you think about it is just crazy for a country of only 70 million people. If you compare that to Australia, which has around 25 million people, we see an annual death rate of about 1,200 people. So 15,000 just from motorbikes alone is kind of insane. Now that's not just limited to Thailand. There's actually similar numbers in places like Vietnam, Cambodia, and Indonesia, Bali in particular, where there's a lot of tourists. So I'm going to read an article that I found from the Bangkok Post, which was written last year, which kind of explains this in depth. So it starts off by saying Thailand's roads are death traps. Indeed, the deadliest in the region and among the 10 most dangerous in the world. I had no idea. Despite a raft of measures to make those roads safe, nothing will change if nothing is done to save motorcycle riders. Why? Because motorcyclists account for 74% of road deaths in Thailand, as I said. And despite ongoing efforts to improve road safety, the number of road deaths show no sign of slowing down. So in other words, it's not getting any better, it's actually getting worse. So The problems are manifold. Due to Thailand's gross disparity, most people cannot access public transportation and can't afford to own their own personal cars. So if you're ever in Bangkok or a big city, even Hua Hin, Pattaya, Chiang Mai, you'll see a lot of motorbike taxis getting around. In fact, that's how most people get around. And 90% of the time, they will ask you to wear a helmet, but a lot of the time they don't. It says here that at present, there are more than 22 million registered motorbikes in Thailand. 22 million registered motorbikes out of a population of 70 million. It also says weak legal enforcement is to blame. Of the 17.9 million traffic tickets, 17.9 million traffic tickets issued in 2022, 14 million were unpaid. So in other words, the Thai police are pulling people over and giving them traffic fines, and people are just basically ripping them up and throwing them out. So it goes on here to basically say that in other countries, research has played a key role in creating a knowledge base and measures to reduce the frequency of severe road accidents. From 2001 to 2010, the research focused on the behaviour of road users, particularly on the attitudes that cause accidents. However, from 2011 to 2020, studies have started to pay more attention to the effectiveness of policies and measures, focusing on the effects on vulnerable groups like the elderly and pedestrians. And that's something you don't think about too much in Thailand, is that the elderly still get around on motorbikes. You'll see elderly people riding motorbikes around because they really have no other choice. It says here they reviewed over 2,000 road safety studies conducted in Thailand over the past 20 years and found that 37% of them focused on road users' risky behaviour. In addition to human error, 23% of the research done during this period examined unsafe road conditions and 15% on road safety management. Although motorcycles are the primary cause of traffic accidents and fatalities, only 10% of the research focused on motorcyclists and the use of safety equipment like helmets. So you get the gist. This is obviously a huge deal in Thailand and something that the people are trying to overcome and bring the numbers down. And as you can see in the article, the main reason for the amount of motorcycle deaths and accidents is because there's just so many motorbikes around and so many people that ride motorbikes. Having a car in Thailand is sort of a little bit of a luxury. And if you drive around anywhere in Thailand, even in Bangkok, you're gonna notice there's heaps of people not wearing helmets. I actually noticed this when we were first in Thailand, and I was in the car with a friend of ours named Chon. He's got a YouTube channel called Friends from Thailand if you want to follow it, quick plug. I noticed nobody had helmets on that were riding motorbikes, and I always wondered if there was a law about it. So I asked him, and he said, yeah, no, it's illegal to drive without a helmet on. And I was like, but no one has a helmet on. I can see 20 bikes. This is in Bangkok. I can see 20 bikes around and nobody has a helmet on. And he kind of just shrugged his shoulders like, yeah, it's just kind of the way it is. Not to mention they don't have what we call in Australia booze buses, which is checkpoints where they'll actually stop you for no reason and just give you a breathalyzer check to make sure that you're not drink driving. And I believe that a lot of the accidents that take place in Thailand, mostly because of the video I watched, is due to drunk driving at night. I actually saw a really big story, which probably a lot of you guys have seen by now as well, where two Kiwi brothers were arrested in Phuket for apparently evading police, and they allegedly sped past a police station, which is a huge no-no here in Thailand, and it's a sign of disrespect. And when the police officer chased them down, apparently he drew his weapon. This is all alleged. I'm only going off what I've read and seen online. But there is a video of the two brothers actually fighting the police officer and taking his gun off him, which is kind of insane. Apparently the two guys weren't licensed, and I think they weren't wearing helmets, but I'm not too sure about that. One of the guys was actually an MMA fighter, and he was able to take control of the police officer, which honestly did not look great on video, and I don't think the Thai people are really going to appreciate that video. It's kind of doing the rounds at the moment, and it's honestly giving tourists a pretty bad name. I don't know all the details to this story, but it's pretty alarming, and it kind of goes to show the lack of concern for road rules in Thailand in general. And I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here telling you that I've followed all of the road rules all the time either. Part of the problem is when you drive around Thailand, you see families of people, literally like 4 people on a scooter, none of them have helmets on, and they seem to just be going about their business. And it kind of gives you this false sense of security, like it's okay. But it wasn't until I hung out with a friend of mine here in Hua Hin, who was a former fireman, and I think they call it an EMT, emergency response. So he was basically a paramedic. And he was really hesitant to hire a scooter because of all the things he's seen while he was working as an EMT and the horrific accidents. And to be honest, after seeing the videos I saw the other day, I don't really blame him. Also, another factor is that you can get away with breaking the rules here a little bit. Like if you're driving without a license or a helmet on and you get pulled over by the police, while there is a maximum penalty, which is quite large, you can most of the time get away with paying a small fine. And this is the same in places like Bali. It's kind of known that you can get away with it a little bit. And that doesn't make it right, but I think that's what lulls people into a false sense of security. But that still doesn't make it safe. While getting arrested or getting a big fine or thrown in jail might seem bad, that's not even the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is getting into an accident and injuring or, God forbid, killing you or your passenger or somebody else. So while driving without a license or a helmet at the time, it might seem like a small risk, but I'm not sure if the risk really outweighs the reward, if that makes sense. Not to mention, if you do get into an accident and you hurt yourself or somebody else and you don't have a license or you don't have a helmet on for whatever reason, I think the police are the least of your worries. You're probably not going to be covered by insurance, and you could be looking at a massive hospital bill for either yourself or the other person. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's up to you whether or not you think it is safe to drive a motorbike or a scooter in Thailand. From personal experience, we've felt pretty safe most of the time, especially here where we live in Hua Hin. We don't drive on any main roads really. It's mostly back roads. We don't go fast. We wear our helmets most of the time, but I can tell you right now, I'm wearing my helmet all the time from now on, and Mandy is definitely wearing a helmet. I think my opinion has changed a little bit, not only from the videos that I saw, but having a pregnant wife and a baby on the way has really made me start to question some of the risks that I take, and I think that's a normal progression with any person. My takeaway is, if you're gonna ride a motorbike or a scooter in Thailand, make sure for one, you have experience, you have the right license, you have insurance, and always wear a helmet, and never drive drunk. As easy as it might seem to be to just get away with it, I really don't know if it's worth it. So while I am still riding my bike in Thailand, I think I'm going to be riding around with Mandy a lot less, especially as the months progress with a pregnancy. And I'm actually in the process of getting my Thai car license, so we can buy a car here soon. And I mean, when baby Lloyd and Mandy comes along, there's no way I'm putting it on a motorbike, at least not until maybe it's a little bit older, I'm not sure. But for now, I think I'm going to minimize our risks and probably play it a lot safer than what we have in the past.